Hello, beautiful folk. Welcome back to SWDY Talks, where we are doing day 8 of 31 videos in 31 days, talking about women and talking to women in our community about their successes and struggles with self-care. Thank you all for the love with which you have received these videos. It's been super wonderful to hear from y'all. But my favorite response has been from the women in our community saying how much they appreciate getting to know one another. I love it, and it's beautiful, and I love hearing how much these women are enjoying hearing about each other and learning about the instructor in a way that they hadn't before. So let's keep it going. So this week we focused on what self-care looks like for us. So for me right now, self-care looks like getting enough sleep and remembering to be gentle with myself as I go through this challenging startup time at my business, while being the single mom to an amazing little boy. Milagros, if you remember, self-care for her is her fitness routines and getting a little bit of everything, and her family and her friends, spending time with them is critical for her. For Naja, self-care is in her running, but also she grounds herself in her spirituality. It's what keeps her well. For Beatrice and Janine, it's balancing their intense pole workouts with time spent with friends and priority to vegging a little bit, where they spend the whole, a day doing nothing. And Janine even suggests, maybe putting a plate on your chest and just eating off of it. Man, I remember those good old days. I'm not going to hate on these girls. I remember. For Aya, a fitness professional and a dancer, wellness is giving herself time to read and relax and maybe even indulge in a little TV. And for Chantel, wellness is found in self-acceptance and self-respect. She designs her wellness routines around what actually works for her and what keeps her consistent, rather than what standards might exist outside of herself or what her industry might tell her is appropriate. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to these and got something out of them. I know I did. Just today, I indulged in the unexpected visit of my friend Raquel, and I let myself really enjoy the conversation rather than trying to rush through it and move on to what's next. And while commuting to an appointment downtown, I did like Chantel, and I took advantage of the train ride to throw on some binaural beats and meditate the whole ride down. It was super refreshing, and I felt some breath, some space for myself. I really enjoyed that. While a lot of these things are the part of the reason that this post is going up so late, for International Women's Day, I prioritized myself. And I know that my sisters will understand. Hey. For today, I want to shift the focus a little bit and propose a theory that may have been promoted before. I'm not sure. I haven't read it. But I'd like to share it with y'all and talk about it in our community, because we got some super brainy people out here. So some of y'all have heard of Dr. Joy DeGruy. If you haven't, please look her up, man. You gotta listen to what the sister is saying. She's amazing. So she put forth this theory called post-traumatic slave syndrome. So the theory goes something like this. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a syndrome that results when a person experiences directly or indirectly a single traumatic experience. She continues that African slaves, having survived not one but innumerous traumas and still suffering innumerous traumas throughout their own lives and generation over generation, suffer from multi-generational trauma, which, coupled with institutionalized racism like the one you find in these here United States, and the absence of opportunity to heal or access benefits available to our society, results in post-traumatic slave syndrome. So basically, her theory is that the trauma suffered by slaves has shaped African American culture and African diasporic culture, and has resulted in and been compounded by our continuous re-traumatization by institutionalized racism. Crazy! This woman is insanely brilliant, and she just kills me every time. Super powerful. You can find out more on her website. And so I am really glad to be alive in a time when we have Dr. DeGruwy's work and the work of so many people to help guide our dismantling of systemic racism. And I believe and have faith that movements like Black Lives Matter and all of our scandalization at the treatment of African Americans in our society, in our community here in the United States, particularly because it's what I know, and the social discourse that's going on around race is just of epic importance to human evolution. I'm really proud to be alive for this. And I would like to propose this, though. Older than institutionalized racism is misogyny, and this idea of woman being inferior as a justification for being denied our full sets of rights. Like the rights, for example, that we refer to as white male privilege. So is it possible, and I think it is, y'all, that the difficulties that we women have with prioritizing ourselves and our well-being before those we care for and nurture and provide for is rooted in this history of disempowerment that women has suffered as a result of our biological functions of providing a womb and nurturing and breast milk and sex and all of these things. Is that possible? So my undergrad was in anthropology, so I'm a nerd. I like thinking about things like this. And if you can imagine that at the dawn of humanity, at times when humans still hadn't dominated their environment, women, mothers with their children in particular, were kept in the most sheltered of environments, while men went out to battle the elements and hunt and deal with the dangers out there. They dealt with the harsh environments because they were physically stronger, or some say became physically stronger as a result of going out there. And if they died, the species went on in the children that the women were raising back home. I'm oversimplifying, of course, and for time's sake, I don't want to bore y'all with any more of this because, again, I'm just a nerd. But could it be that the same way that men today still struggle with being overly aggressive, thus war and rape and murder, for example, that are still hugely, overwhelmingly male function or male behaviors? Could it be that we still struggle with putting ourselves first because the survival of the species what was most important, and that we were potentially shamed or felt shame if we put ourselves first? I don't know, y'all. I think that's strong. I think that's powerful. I think that might be something that we should perhaps consider. I mean, I don't know. I'm just Yosada in the Bronx, and I'm sure that there are people much better suited to tackle these types of theories. But I wanted to share this with y'all and what was coming up for me in my nerdy self. And I appreciate y'all indulging me in this attention. So let me know what you think. I don't know. Let's find some super, smart scientist person that can go figure this out and figure out these theories. I ain't got time for that. I'm running a business and raising a baby. So moving on. We're going to continue the 31 days. So stay tuned for more amazing women from Sweetwater Dance and Yoga's community and the Bronx and Manhattan and our surrounding areas. And as always, I leave you in love and light. Peace, my people.